set of slides, all the links are going to be up in Blackboard, but just so that you know a little bit more about the sites on here, I'm just going to tell you kind of what you might be able to expect, what's going to be free, what might cost you, etc. So here are some places to consider to kind of build your collection, ones that are kind of good go-tos if you need something just on a moment. But if you are thinking of going into design, kind of building your own library of pieces is really useful. So some of these are ones where they'll give you something free each week, and it might be worth subscribing to some of them in order to see if there's pieces that you're like, oh yeah, I could totally use that. Maybe not right this second, but down the line. Build your library up. So one of the ones that I go to a lot that does this kind of model of free goods every week, and then there's other things that you can purchase, is Creative Market. And so if you go to Creative Market / free goods, each week they have 6 items that are for free. Those 6 items change. And they do also have, you can go ahead and purchase other pieces if there's something specific that you need. So for example, this was one. And so a lot of times it's fonts, sometimes it's social media packs, sometimes it's PowerPoint or Keynote presentations, sometimes it's images and icons. So there's lots of different options of things that they have for free each week. Then this is another one where you would want to like subscribe in order to get those images. Death to Stock kind of has a different way of approaching stock photos. So it doesn't have a gallery of images you can go through and find. Instead, every month it'll send you 20 new photos. But again, you need their newsletter. And you can obviously purchase premium if you want to, but that's what you can get for free. But you need to subscribe to them. And again, they're a little bit different. They're a little bit interesting. They might not be ones you use all day, every day, but if you need something that makes you stand out, they're definitely worth a look. Now, I did mention that certain things are public domain. Archive.org, the Wayback Machine, good if there is a website that you need an old version of, but also it has a lot of things like the Prelinger Archive is great if you need public domain video. There's a lot of things on here. Now, do just double check. Almost everything on here is in the public domain, but occasionally there'll be something that sneaks its way in that isn't. So just double check. And in case you ever need a website that's been taken off the web, Wayback Machine, super useful for that. So this can be a place you can go to find things that are public domain and that you know you can use, and that's fine. British Library also did a really great project where they put up on Flickr a ton of their holdings that are, again, all public domain. Again, if you're looking for something that maybe has an old-time feel, something that's got like a etching or something like that, there's thousands of things that they've put up, and everything that's in their library is public domain. Now, just as a reminder, Flickr is basically an image sharing site. That does not mean everything on Flickr is public domain, by no means. Most things on Flickr are all rights reserved, but this particular set that was put up by the British Library, you can use, and you can use no problem. Other people on Flickr, it'll be per person, whether or not their images are all rights reserved, Creative Commons, etc. So again, remember to check. The kind of last place in terms of things that are public domain, New Old Stock. They are vintage photos, as they say. They are free of any known copyright restrictions, and so this can be useful, again, if you're looking for something historic. Now we get to the first 2 of these are my kind of top 2 go-tos for royalty-free, fee-free, Creative Commons, as long as you attribute them, image libraries. Unsplash is kind of my go-to. It has its own license, but basically that license, and the same with the one next to it, means that you can use these images for free as long as you're not creating a competing website. So don't use these images to make a gallery of royalty-free images. Otherwise, you can use them as long as you credit the original photographer. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of different areas. They're actually like, I've had a couple things where like they've partnered with Microsoft and some of the other large brands in order to do tech stuff. So they've got a lot of things in there. Burst, which is actually part of Shopify. Shopify is one of the biggest platforms for online selling. This is actually made so that people can have stock for the stores that they set up, but it's actually a really great resource for anyone who needs stock photos. And again, these images are all royalty-free and fee-free as long as you credit the original photographer. So again, these 2 are kind of my good go-tos for things that I need kind of more traditional stock photography. PickJumbo is also good. They also will give you some more free images if you subscribe to their newsletter. No registration required. Not everything in here is going to be free. As you see, they've got free items. So it does depend. You might find something that you really like and that you're like, oh, this one isn't free. That can be kind of the frustrating things of some of the next few sites where they are what I would call like freemium, where some things are free and some things aren't. Some of them you need to pay a license fee for. And I always feel like it's always the one you want that you need to pay a fee for. So worth having a look, maybe if something, you can't find something on one of the other sites. Superfamous is kind of specific. It's actually the work of one person, but it's kind of interesting. Again, they're things that aren't your traditional pieces. So if you're looking for something that's moody, there's a lot of it that's kind of nature-based. And so it's really kind of interesting, really good for textures and things like that. He also has everything is under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0. So as long as you provide credit, you can use it for anything, including commercial work, as long as you credit him. Now, iStock I mentioned when we were talking about royalty-free but not fee-free. And iStock is, again, a bit like kind of freemium, where certain things are going to be free every week. Again, you can see there'll be one free photo, one free illustration, and one free video clip. Again, you do need to sign up for them to get that. But the rest of the stuff is microstock. So you're going to be less expensive than Getty, where everything averages about $500 a pop, but you might have to spend between $1 and $5 to $10 to $15 in order to get what you're looking for. So again, if you're looking for something specific, you need something particular for a client, and it's okay for you to pay $5, $10, then you might want to go onto something like iStock to find the perfect photo. You're working on something for school, you may not want to be spending any money. That's up to you. But you can sign up for the free membership and get one free thing every week. Again, if you're building your library, that's a great way to build it over the course of time. And then you can go and be like, oh, I know I have that image because I've got it in the past. So just kind of keep that in mind. And those are my top ones.